Triotonic.
Triotonic.
Thank you guys for coming back to the Triotonic podcast. We are still stuck in quarantine, but we're glad to have you guys with us. Joining us today on our second edition of the COVID Triotonic podcast is Eleazar Guzman. Second time being on the show. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Guys? What's up, man?
What's
going on, man?
Where are you meeting us from right now? Where are you located?
I'm at my parents' house. I'm in like the study area, pretty much.
I got you. That's a very nice clue. Like a clue game. But what city are you in?
I'm in South Boundbrook.
Okay, South Boundbrook. All right.
What county is that?
Somerset County.
Nice. And is it like bad down there? Everything's shut down and all that?
Oh, yeah, everything's kind of shut down now. From what I hear, it's bad in the area with like all the confirmed cases. But
Yeah.
I don't go outside, so I'm good, bro.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're pre-quarantined.
Yeah, man. I've been here for like today is the 13th day. I've been quarantined for.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We keep it count. All right. That's good.
Yeah, man. You got to. You got to, bro.
Yeah.
Do you guys think like this whole quarantine thing has been like a piece of cake for the introverts out there, like that are usually just chilling home?
Hell yeah, dude. Think about it. When this started, they were like, "There's so much time for fun."
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think that it's hard because you kind of like are told that you can't go anywhere. So now it's like,
yeah, no choice.
You can't even decide to leave if you want to, but that's what I think is bad. But, for our guests who didn't see the first time Eleazar was on the show, he's a up and coming stand-up comedian. He's doing the rounds of all the comedy clubs and stuff. So we're going to get a little bit into that. We want to stray away a little bit from the COVID-19 talk because our last episode was a whopping 2 hours of COVID mayhem. So we're gonna
distance ourselves from that.
We're gonna social distance from the COVID news and all the fake news too that's going around out there. But we will touch on it a little later. So we'll save it for like dessert.
Yeah.
So
the worst dessert ever.
Yeah. A viral dessert.
Dessert.
Yeah. So Eleazar, what have you been up to since the last time you were on the show?
I've just been performing as much as I can, about 7 times a week. I started running a bunch of shows. I had a weekly show in New York City that I was doing. It was the only 420 friendly show in New York City.
Wow.
So yeah, it was this back room at a comedy club, and basically what I was doing is I was helping run the show, and I was also barking people into the show, which is something I do a lot. And the show was going strong for about 4 or 5 months. We had sold out shows almost every week. And then the last show we did there, for some reason, we only had like 15 people in there. And the club was like, sorry, you guys are cut. So we lost that show. But it was great. We had a great run. And basically just performing everywhere else, man. I've been trying to hit New York City as much as possible now. So,
yeah, that's awesome. It's very cutthroat of them to cut you like that. But I did see a bunch of other shows you've been doing, and actually, I told one of my coworkers about one of your shows, which I inquired to you about. That was in what was it, Perth and Boy?
It was South End Boy.
South End Boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Got your M boys crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. She actually went, and it was BYOB.
Yeah.
So she said that it was very interesting. How did that go?
It was great. I had a really good time on that show. I got to try out a bunch of stuff that I'm kind of working on right now because like in the beginning when I started doing comedy for like my first 3.5 years, I kind of only focused on myself, like how I look, how people perceive me, how I was raised, stuff like that. But I never really spoke about ideas, like big ideas. And that's what I'm moving on to right now. I talk about one subject that's pretty hard to make funny. I talk about animal abuse, which is pretty
Okay.
weird. Yeah, and so once you start bringing up the subject, people are like, like people get real scared, like, oh, what is he gonna say? But the whole thing about my joke is that the joke is about abusing clams.
Okay.
So, so once I started talking about it being clams, then people start laughing a little bit, and then it's fun, man. I like making people uncomfortable and then releasing that tension. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, I've been talking a lot about history. One bit that's been going pretty well for me is this bit about mermaids and about their origins and whatnot.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that because I want to release it as a special one day. But yeah, I was having a lot of fun, especially that night. That night was cool.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming shows that anybody can check you out at?
Like stuff online.
No, I mean like
Like-
upcoming like. Oh well, duh.
Oh.
I mean, shows, right?
I was like,
there I go, forgetting that life is like not. Life's completely over. But I'm like, yeah.
Are you performing in your bathroom mirror anytime soon?
I actually know a lot of comedians that are performing on webcams with no audience and no laugh reactions or anything.
That's
And
kind of tough.
it's the saddest thing ever, bro.
I
But
think,
yeah.
I think if we set something up where like you were performing live and I could do like soundboard of like different audiences like laughing and shit, I think we could get something going.
Yeah, that could be an idea.
Yeah, it's something
So-
you gotta adjust in the quarantine.
Yeah. Right now is a really hard time for comics too, because a lot of comics comedy is all they do. So not being able to go on stage, not being around their friends all the time, it's kind of hitting them real hard. So that's also why I made my new podcast, Calling All Comics, because I can tell my friends aren't taking this easy, and I got a lot of other things I can do. Like I can draw, I can write, I can do a bunch of different shit. So for me, I'm good. Like I'm good on this time. Like I could just create stuff, but I made the podcast so I can support my friends and so they don't feel so alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that sounds like a great idea. It's also not too intensive on like, how you create it. I thought it was a perfect, awesome
it's-
like idea.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's so simple. I literally call people up with my phone and just record through my phone, and it takes me literally like 10 minutes to make an episode. Like after recording, of course.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, you do the still image. That's great. That's like classic podcast style with like long distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I actually, I know you mentioned like working on like new material and stuff. And what do you have like a specific process that you follow, or is it kind of like how do you get your inspiration? When you get your inspiration, do you have like a notebook?
Yeah, I have a notebook. I have a notebook that I have a weird issue with notebooks. Like I'm not a perfectionist. If you looked at my room, you would definitely notice I'm not a perfectionist. But when it comes to notebooks, there's something about notebooks that I get like OCD, where like it has to always be neat. It has to always look nice, and for me, I don't get much creativity out of that. So I got this little notebook that says imperfectly perfect, and I just treat it like shit, and it's the most I've ever written in it. Because like I just found it ironic that it's called imperfectly perfect. So it looks like a bunch of rags, but it's like my favorite notebook now.
nice.
And how do
Yeah,
you
that's
build
great.
it from there?
So basically, a lot of the stuff that I come up with, if it's a short joke, it's probably something that I've said in conversation with my friends, and then I see like it has a big reaction. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I got to write this down. So a lot of the times, like I'll be having fun with my friends and stuff, and I'll just interrupt the moment and just like slowly take out my notebook and just try to write what I said as fast as possible. Because dude, trust me, I mean, I've written probably about an hour of material in my whole stand-up career, and I've probably lost about 2 hours worth of material just not writing it down. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
But when it comes to like the bigger ideas that I work on now, I know what I like. I like history. I like religion. I like philosophy, stuff like that. So there's certain things with that I already know I want to explore, and I kind of just look up as much stuff as I can and try to find the funny in it and write things out as much as I can with the bigger ideas, you know. But the smaller jokes, I'll just write the beginning word and then the punchline, and then try to put it together later.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Nice.
I could definitely relate to like forgetting that shit. I'm sure Jose can too. Like writing different riffs as musicians and then completely forgetting them, or writing songs, having them recorded, and then losing a hard drive or a computer. There's probably so many songs that just Jose and I have probably lost like over the years that we've worked on.
I can imagine that's devastating. I shot up a podcast recently with somebody the other day, and it was a great episode. It was probably one of my best episodes ever. And then the app that I was recording the podcast with crashed right when I was editing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I lost the whole thing. I was freaking out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, but you know, those are some of the trials and tribulations we go through in this dirty game of podcasting.
I believe it, man.
Yeah, but I had another question too, because I know like a lot of friends of mine, you know, they've always talked about like, you know, I just want to give it a shot, do an open mic and things like that. And I was telling you the other day off the air that that I was also always interested in doing it, and I've been performing in bands and stuff, so I feel like I'm a little more comfortable on stage. So
yeah,
I just felt like I always wanted to do it. But like, do you think it's important? Let's say if myself or Andrew wanted to do it, like, should we set up like 5 minutes and go up there, or do you think we should just do like 2 and then go up there and feel it out? Like, what do you think is the best way for success, so I don't like crash and burn and never come back again, you know?
What I would say is definitely try to write out at least 5 minutes, right? And the way you plan it out is you write out the joke, and as you're writing out after you write out all the jokes, right? And you perform them to yourself or out loud, so like where nobody's around, obviously. And what you do is that after each joke where the laugh is supposed to hit, you pause for like a few seconds, right? And then you go on to the next thing, right? And because you have to always, because when you're on stage, that pause is always going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it helps build a rhythm, because what a lot of comedy is what they call word math and rhythm. Right, because the word math is the perfect words that make a great joke, right? Because sometimes one joke could be taken out or added, and it could change the whole thing. You know what I mean? And so you got to kind of figure out that word math, and you also got to figure out the rhythm you want to go with. You know?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for that advice. Yeah, you know what else I was thinking about? This is just like progressed naturally into this thought I was having earlier. Andrew and I were talking about clowns, right? Because we were talking about you know, a very high-ranking political figure in our country.
I thought you were going to say clown.
Bash right now. I don't want to bash him right now because I don't want to make every podcast about him. You know, but he's doing a great job right now. But anyway, I was saying how he was. I was saying how he was a clown, and then I was like, imagine if clowns, instead of painting their face white, they painted it orange. And, you know, and all right, now you know where I'm going with it. But anyway, then I was thinking about it. I'm like, I looked up some clown music on YouTube, because we were talking about like the typical type of piano called Calliope.
Calliope. Yeah.
Calliope. Yeah. And it's like a special like wind type of piano, like organ instrument.
Oh, okay.
So so I'm just sitting there, and I realize I've spaced out, and I'm blasting Calliope music on my phone, laying on the couch. My girlfriend's trying to watch TV, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then I was like, I had this look of terror on my face, because I'm like imagining some guy sitting in his house blasting that music, like putting white makeup on his face and like getting ready to do his own routine to nobody in his house. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, now I was never really scared of clowns, but now I'm rethinking their existence a little bit.
Yeah, you know what clown used to scare the fuck out of me? Do you remember that Cranberries video, Salvation?
Cranberry.
Yeah, I do
That
actually.
clown? You remember that
Yeah,
clown?
yeah.
Dude.
That video had like a kind of like a tint to it, right? Like almost like a purplish, like
It was a long
it-
time ago, so I don't
yeah.
recall, but there was a fucking weird ass clown in it.
You guys-
That's
how old are you guys, by the way?
33.
And
Yeah,
you?
I'm 33 also.
Oh shit. I'm 29. So
Okay.
you guys remember Bozo the Clown?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Look back at some Bozo videos. That dude was fucking scary. I don't know what I was thinking when I was a kid, bro.
Do you guys know anybody that's scared of clowns?
Yes. This
Yeah.
girl I went to high school with, she has like a serious clown phobia, and I can draw really well. I actually used to be into like demon clowns. Like I would draw like demon clowns all the time.
Nice.
And so I would draw like these really detailed like demon clowns with like sharp teeth and like blood dripping from their mouths and crazy looks in their eyes. And I would like pass these papers to her, or I would like the drawings to her, or I would sneak them into her books when she wasn't looking.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, it's safe to say she doesn't have fond memories of me for sure.
So I just Googled, there's actually a technical term for the fear of clowns. It's coulrophobia.
Coulrophobia?
Coulro phobia. Coulrophobia.
Wow, I didn't expect that one.
Yeah.
You know there's some weird phobias out there. There's a phobia of hair. Where like
Sure.
where like just the sight of hair makes people freak out. So like
I
those
heard of that. They like
yeah.
shave everything, right? Like they get rid of all their hair.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like if anything, I'm
the
scared of
fear-
those people. You know?
Yeah, I heard that there was also like a phobia of elderly people too.
Really?
Yeah, that's another weird one too that I just recently found out about.
Wow. So those people were probably cheering on this whole COVID thing.
Oh,
Damn.
that's true. That's true. They're like, yes, the reckoning has bestowed upon us. Yeah, man. But yeah. So like, how before we do our first break, we have a good like 10 minutes left. I wanted to talk to you. How are you coping with going from 7 nights a week doing sets to like just being home all the time? I know you said you like being home and that's your natural flow, but
I'll be honest, dude. The last week that I had before the quarantine started, I had probably the most like great shows booked in 1 week than I had in like months. I had 6 shows with like multiple headliners, great clubs, great shows, and I had to cancel them all except for one. I did one show with this guy named Aaron Berg. I don't know if you ever heard of Aaron Berg.
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Aaron Berg. He's like one of the best comedians I've ever seen ever. And he's like, but the thing is, his comedy's not like normal comedy. It's like he doesn't really talk about big ideas or like try to make you he doesn't try to be poignant or anything like that. He's just kind of like, this dude's Chinese, that lady's fat, and he's like, and then he'll like he'll put together those two people some way in some kind of crazy way, and it's hilarious, dude. I mean, it's borderline racist, but the thing is, like, all crowds love this guy. I've never seen a crowd hate him before. Like he kills, dude, kills. Like so let's say when I'm having a great set, right, I'll have probably about 6 to 7, maybe 8 laughs per minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that six laughs per minute is the amount of laughs that, let's say, if you wanted to get booked by a comedy club, that they count laughs per minute when you send them your tape or your video or anything like that. And so
LPM?
6 laughs. What happened?
LPM?
Yeah, yep, exactly. So that's one thing I always try to count when I do my sets. And Aaron Berg, though, if you watch an Aaron Berg set, there's literally like he does like 30 laughs per minute, bro.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. He's lightning fast, and
How old is he? Is he like a younger guy or an older guy?
he's an older guy. He's probably just hit 40. He's been doing comedy, I think, like 13 years now or something like that, or
Wow.
15 years. But yeah, he's like a real comics comic. You know what I mean? Like comedians, they watch him, they can't really do what he does because he's just so lightning fast. You know. But yeah, that was the last show that I did, and I feel really lucky that I got to do that show. That show originally was supposed to have 70 people at it, around 60 to 70 people, and then by the time the show happened, because coronavirus just broke nationally, we only had like 32 people there. But the thing is, the crowd was just amazing, and that was my last set that I had, and I'm glad I got to do it. You know,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I chickened out on a show that I should have went to after the Ehrenberg set. There was a show in Jersey City it was literally like a day before Jersey City was like starting to get serious about the quarantine too, and my friend was like, "Hey man, we're doing this quarantine comedy show at my friend's apartment," and he's like, but so far it looks like only 7 people are going to be there. So, and I was like, I don't know if it's worth, if me going there for 7 people is worth me getting coronavirus possibly, you know what I mean? So I didn't go.
Yeah.
And then it turned out like 35 people went, and they filled up this little apartment, and it was like an awesome show, and I missed out on it. But
they all got coronavirus.
no.
Yeah, that sounds like a virus stream.
But since then, I'll be honest with you guys, like about 3 or 4 days in, starting the quarantine thing, I was so used to performing every night and just going on stage, and that like day 4, I had like a panic attack / like anxiety attack where I straight up cried for like 30 minutes. Like I was not handling it well. And there was a moment that I had, like a moment of clarity after I calmed down, where I was like, I'm the reason why I feel this way. The only reason why I'm upset is because I allow myself to be upset. You know, if I have to, because I'm a creative guy. I could do a lot of things creatively. So I was saying to myself, basically, why are you letting this happen to you? You gotta do what you know how to do. So since then, I've been writing a lot more. I wrote a new story recently. I used to write novels and short stories before I did comedy, so I went back to writing stories. And I also started the podcast, and with the podcast, I was doing like 3 to 4 episodes a day. So I was just trying to stay busy. And besides that, I also been watching a lot of Netflix. So that helps.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's keeping you busy nowadays?
With Netflix?
Yeah.
So the first show I watched was Lock and Key. You guys ever watch that?
Yeah, that was great. I saw that.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was so dope, bro. I thought it was gonna be
awesome.
I thought it was gonna be like a little kids show at first because of the trailer. You know, it's like a bunch of kids and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And then as I was watching it, bro, I'm like holding on to my seat. You know what I mean? Like I'm like cheering these characters on and shit. And yeah, that was a great show. And the show I'm watching now though is Lucifer. I don't know if you guys ever heard
that
of
was a good show. Yeah, it was on Fox for a while, and then Netflix picked it up, right?
Yeah, dude. It's I'm a big comic book guy, so the show Lucifer it's not really comic book. They really didn't try to stay true to the source material too much, but I still like what they did. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a
detective or something, right?
Yeah, it's like a cop drama, but with like supernatural influences in it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's basically the devil is like a superhero detective.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. I want to check it out.
Yeah,
I've been having a little issue though with Netflix because I've been stuck home so much, you know, and like usually, you know, like you're with your girl, you like Netflix and chill and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think like my junk knows that I'm watching Netflix. It hears like the cha-chung thing, you know, like when it's turned on. So like it automatically doesn't matter what I'm watching. If I'm watching something, it just like starts like 15 minutes in, it's like ready to go. It just comes up like shit's about to go down, you know.
Pavlov dog.
Exactly, yeah. So it thinks I'm Netflix and chilling, and I'm like, nah, bro.
You're like streaming Viagra. It's dope.
Exactly. I'm all confused and shit over here. I'm watching like the fucking Nun Diaries, and he just pops up out of nowhere. I'm like, no, we can't. Not on this one.
Have you guys seen Tiger King?
I watched like a couple episodes of that shit. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's crazy.
I haven't watched it, but I heard it's great.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro. It's basically a zookeeper who he's in this war war of words with this woman who's a big cat rescue person, but in Florida. And the zookeeper's crazy. He's definitely like a gay dude who like
He definitely is.
Who's like smokes meth and like
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a part in the documentary or whatever you want to call it when he's like talking to one of the interviewers. And the interviewer was like, "So, do you have an emotional bond with these animals?" And he's like petting the tiger through a cage behind him, and he's like, "Definitely emotional bond." And then the tiger bites his finger, and he's like, just like, "Yeah, definitely emotional bond."
Oh man! On that note, everybody go watch Tiger King now.
Yeah, I actually just remembered. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood actually debuts on cable tonight. So. If you guys have stars.
Yeah, if you guys have stars, also watch that. By the time you watch this, it will have been yesterday, but it's out. So for sure, go do that. Once we get our live streaming up and running, then we'll be able to drop some of those. But speaking of live streaming, we're going to do some words from our sponsors now. So we'll be right back with some of Andrew's mind picks. This episode is brought to you by Premier Rank Marketing. Any marketing needs you guys have for any businesses in the area. I know it's a rough time right now with the COVID-19 spread. So for a lot of businesses, their only lifeline is using social media and their online presence to reach their customers, being that they're only doing deliveries. Yeah, exactly. You use your social media. This is another reason why it's important to have a very big presence online, because sometimes life will throw some curveballs at you, and you got to use what you can to keep your business going.
Nice. And Triotonic podcast is also brought to you by Rutherford Headshots. You don't want to look all crazy in your headshots. You get that whack ass like triple chin, or got that lazy eye. You want to get it from the right angle, so you got to leave that to the pros.
They do teeth whitening, they do eye adjustments, they do it all.
Yeah, they're gonna make you look great, and you'll definitely get the gig. So just hit them up. We'll have the information in our descriptions, or you could contact us, and we'll get you hooked up. Rutherford Headshots is the place to go for all your photography needs. All right, welcome back to the Triotonic podcast. Thanks for staying with us for our little intermission. I'm here with Jose and Eleazar.
Yep.
I guess me and Jose are going to just delve into a little bit of what has been keeping us busy with Netflix. Me personally, the other day I watched Raging Bull, Casino, Goodfellas. I just ran the gamut on all the Marty movies, went through all the Quentin Tarantino.
Those were all on Netflix?
Yeah, the only one that wasn't was Casino.
Okay.
So
I've actually never seen Raging Bull. That's the boxing movie, right?
Yeah, dude, you gotta watch that.
I heard it's amazing.
It is. It's mostly improvised too. So
really,
you really see Joe Pesci and Bobby D shine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely one on the list to revisit now that we're in quarantine. Yeah, I actually not on Netflix, but on HBO Go. I just recently caught up with Westworld, so I'm heavily invested now, and it's going on live. We're on episode 3 next week, but I moved on to The Wire,
Oh,
and
okay.
I watched the pilot. It's just so funny how like you remember The Wire being the shit, and then we were so young, and it's like fucking Blueprint, Jay-Z song in it, and then you see the people in like they're like in the hood of Baltimore and shit, but like the style is so old that they don't really look as menacing as they should.
Yeah.
It's not like I know Baltimore now, you know.
Yo, have you been to Baltimore before?
Yeah, I have.
Bro, I was a comic for a rap show in Baltimore, and oh man, we drove through the city, and it was. I've been to a lot of bad neighborhoods before. That was the craziest, most rundown place I've ever seen in my life, dude. Like there was straight up whole blocks of just apartments that were like missing roofs and shit like that.
It's like a third world country.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It was mind blowing.
I would imagine like there in Flint, it's like really bad.
Camden too.
Oh, Camden's bad. Yeah, Camden's really bad.
I
used to be in a band that.
Go ahead.
I used to be in a band that was like practicing in Camden for a little bit. It's a little dicey.
I believe it, man. Well, one time I used to date this girl in South Jersey, and my first time ever visiting her in South Jersey, I had to take a train from Camden. Like I had to take a connecting train to Camden, and I'm at the Camden train station, right? And there's everybody's giving me these like mean looks and shit like that, right? And then this random white dude comes up to me, right? And I'm buying tickets at the ticket machine. This is the only white dude at the train station, right? And this train station is filled with people. And the white dude comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, can you get me a ticket to the next town?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," because I mean, I was like, a ticket to the next town is like at $2, right? And if he's really struggling that bad, whatever, I'll get you the ticket, right? I give him the ticket, and he's like, "Hey, you think you get me like 10 more tickets?" And I'm like, "What? What do you need 10 tickets for? What are you gonna sell them?" And he's like, "Nah, man, I just need the tickets, bro." And I was like, "Dude, I don't got money for 10 tickets, bro." And he's like, "You better give me those fucking tickets now. Give me those tickets now." And then he was like getting really aggressive, like he was about to attack me. And then this crazy thing that I like literally, it's something out of a movie. All of the people at the train station all got up, walked towards us, surrounded the guy, the white dude, and they were like, "Get out of here, you loser, and, before we kick your ass and shit." And then they're literally pushing around this white dude, and then the white dude runs away, and then they all the black people are like, "You can't let those people talk to you like that. You can't those type of people will stab you, shit like that." And I was like, "Whoa!" Like they literally like saved my life in that moment. You know what I mean?
And by those types of people, they meant crackheads.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was the last time I went to Canton, and I have no plans on going back.
Yeah, dude, that sounds pretty sketchy. That's like West Side Story Part 2 or some shit.
Yeah,
except there's never like a story where it starts off one time I was in Camden and ends good.
Yeah, that's true. Unless you were seeing Dave Matthews, man, am I right?
Yeah, that's the amphitheater, right?
Oh, okay. I thought Dave Matthews was from Camden. I was like, wow, okay, that gives him a lot more street cred
then. Yeah, man. But speaking of street cred,
he fashioned his guitar out of like abandoned wood from houses.
Just like an old door.
You see that? You see that house right there with that missing chunk of wood? That's Dave Matthews' guitar right there. Oh man. But yeah, speaking of street cred though, I heard that one of our biggest biggest companies, that have influenced our lives, Pornhub, has now donated thousands of masks to the medical. When it was in New York,
I'm not sure.
I believe it was in New York, but it was a specific state. And then not only did they donate masks, but they made their premium membership free to the public for the foreseeable future, so they can make sure that they social distance and stay home.
And I am surprised I'm hearing about this now, bro, because I know exactly what I'm doing after this podcast.
And like,
Yeah,
which one is the bigger public service?
It's definitely the premium.
That's true. Just make sure you shut off the record button, if you know what I mean. But yeah. So like, what is like basically? What would you guys like? With a free premium, like to me, like porn is free, so it's like
yeah. What do you
got?
get?
Like you get your clips, but what do you get with the premium? Like you get that long form, that
those clips are nothing compared to like the real deal, bro. Once in a while,
oh shit! Okay.
Once in a while, like in those free websites, you'll get like a long version of the clip that you normally watch. Bro, there's so much story you're missing, bro.
It's called it's called, what do you call it? Word math, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The word math on those is off the chains.
Yeah, bro. I laugh.
I don't know about you guys, but I find I get bored easily. Like I'll be watching a video, I'm like, this isn't the one, and I'll start looking for another one. You gotta find the right one.
Yeah,
I think a lot more of that's going on with the quarantine, because people are just really like settling in, like they're just really setting up.
That and people are getting pregnant. That's happening right now, bro. There are people.
That's true.
There are girls getting pregnant all over this country, bro.
Corona babies.
That's true.
Dude, this is gonna do more for the population than a fucking drunk party in high school, dude.
Well, it's gonna cancel each other out.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think a lot of people are just hoping that the quarantine's over in 9 months, They don't want to be in quarantine when they have that baby,
Or even worse, after.
Yeah, like, oh man, imagine those quarantine babies. Like, they only get to see like the light of day like a year in.
That'd be horrible.
So, another thing I wanted to touch on, since we were talking about porn,
Mm-hmm.
being that like Andrew, how you were saying, you're like, oh, this isn't the one. I get bored easily, things like that. The people are saying, I mean, you're not far off from like the general consensus. People are watching smaller and smaller clips of porn, and now there's porn on like Snapchat and all that shit, where it's like little clips of like 10 seconds, and then you're seeing like girl after girl after girl, in like one sesh. And then and then you have your girl, that you've been with for like a couple years, and then you're just like, how do you think that affects a generation like ours that has grown up since the AOL days, like being like 11 years old, watching one porn picture load up? Like we've had it our whole lives, unlike older generations.
Yeah, they had to withstand the embarrassment of actually going to the store, with putting it on the counter, then having the brown paper bag inside of it and all that. It's so easily accessible. And the crazy shit is, it's like if you're into some like way off, like wild shit, like there's no embarrassment whatsoever, unless someone goes inside your search history. But otherwise, like people are watching crazy shit, and I'm sure that's desensitizing people, like you were saying.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Exactly.
For sure, and that's why I actually try not to watch it for like I try to take like a week at a time, like to take breaks like that, because like for me it was just it was ruining like my connection with women. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like your joie de vivre.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's sometimes you got to take a break. That's what I was telling my friend, and he's like, I'm not gonna drop his name.
My friend.
I told my friend, I'm like, you gotta stop, jerking off every day, because then, that's why. Like sometimes I have some friends that are single for a really long time. They go on like a dry spell, but they're like, they're not putting out rookie numbers. They're like up there like daily, like
And,
really
and so,
going at it.
and some of those dry spells are really dry, bro. Like they don't use any lotion or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then I tell him, I'm like, yo, I bet you if you just took a break like 1 or 2 weeks, you're gonna go so crazy that you're gonna like actually want to go out there and like meet a girl, and then
Yeah.
sometimes it just motivates you, like that's why
Mhm.
a lot of sports figures, they don't like have that during camps and things like that,
Yeah.
because it doesn't really motivate you, to be honest. 'Cause sometimes I'll wake up one day and I'll wake up a little early and I'll be like, I can't go out, with one in the chamber, you gotta like you gotta let it out, just sometimes
Yeah,
you're stressed out,
the hormones are powerful, man.
That's
yeah, it's
true,
pretty
bro.
crazy. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, like that's how women take like birth control, and it has like hormones in it and shit. Start
Mhm.
like growing a goatee and shit real quick. Hormones will do some crazy shit to you.
You ever heard that Louis C.K. bit that the most dangerous people in the world are horny dudes trying to fuck in like big
No.
groups, where like where they're just like they're just because they haven't gotten laid and like they're unsuccessful that night, like they'll just beat up some random dude in the street because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll do some crazy shit,
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. So, speaking about being stimulated, we have the government trying to stimulate the nation right now. Currently, I know Andrew's been on top of this from day one, and now there's some new developments that the Democrats have inserted that have caught my ear, which is the gig economy. Of course, Andrew's as well, because you work in that type of field as well. But now they have a little bit of share towards the gig economy, which helps me out, and then also to the small businesses, which also helps me out. So I'm smiling hard these days because I'm getting a nice little cut of the pie. But what are you guys planning to do with this money? Like, let's say you get $1,000, or let's say you get 3,000. What are some things that you're focusing on?
All I know is that my weed dealer's gonna be happy.
Yeah, that's a lot of. I know a lot of people that are gonna re-up.
For sure. I honestly I haven't smoked. Usually I do it like a few times a day, but because of this whole quarantine thing, I got laid off from my day job, so
Oh, damn.
I haven't been doing it for a while. Like, so when that stimulus check hits, you best believe it.
What do you do if you don't mind me asking your day job?
What? Oh, at my job, I work at a temp agency. But the temp agency is really cool. It's like a Uber for jobs.
Mhm.
It's an app that I have on my phone.
Shift
And
gig?
Shit gig? No, I've never heard of that before. But
Shift gig is something similar, yeah.
shift
I think
gig?
they
Shift
said
gig, yeah.
shit.
Oh, I thought you
Shit
said
gig.
shit gig. I'm like, doesn't sound like it's for me.
Sign up for our app. Shit gig.
It's got like
That's the app for the guys into weird stuff on porno.
it's got like the shit emoji with like a briefcase. So what do you do there at that temp agency?
So the temp agency is called People Ready, and what they do is they give you your own card, like your own debit card, and you get paid through the debit card, and you get paid every day. So every time you work a shift, you get paid immediately after that shift, and it goes straight to your debit card. So let's say also People Ready is all over the world. So it's like in every country, every state. So let's say I'm like stuck in like Nebraska, right? I don't know how I'm gonna get, like I was doing shows in Nebraska or something, and the shows didn't pay enough for me to go back home, and so now I have to figure out how I can get money to go, right? So with the People Ready app, I can choose the location, and then the jobs will show up, and then I just click on the job, I show up, I work the shift, and then I get paid immediately.
Damn, that's pretty
So
dope.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But the problem is that I was working at just one place in the past like 8 months, because that one place like was like right by my house,
Mhm.
and they loved me there. Like they let me do whatever I want. It's like this warehouse, Christmas tree shop. I don't know if guys ever heard of Christmas tree shop, but basically
Yeah.
I just went to the warehouse and they loved me there. And then I was supposed to work 3 days last week, which I was really depending on. And literally, like the night before I was supposed to go, I get a call from People Ready telling me I was fired from the Christmas tree shop. And so I call up the Christmas tree shop and I'm like, hey, what's up? And like the manager there, she's like literally like she loves me, and she's like, look, I tried to stop them, but you know, like the whole COVID-19 coronavirus thing, they're worried that People Ready people, they don't know where they're coming from, so they don't want you coming in the building, shit like that.
Wow.
So yeah, so this whole coronavirus, you know, messed that up. And then and the reason why I haven't been working though is because on the People Ready app, the only jobs I can find are like spraying down and disinfecting places,
Wow.
which doesn't sound like it's too safe. You know what I mean? So like if it needs disinfecting, that means that they're worried about it. You know, so
Yeah.
so I've kind of just been like, you know, look, I've been without money before. You know, I don't need to smoke every day or whatever. I can find better things to do with my time. So I've just been kind of just waiting it out, and I'm just hoping with my podcast that I get some more sponsors, and you know, hopefully that becomes my job. That's what I'm hoping, you know. But you know, that takes time, of course. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good plan. And
Yeah.
what about you, Andrew? Would you have any high aspirations with the stimulus check?
Honestly, I'd probably either pay off bills or use it for a down payment on a new car.
Jesus, who have you become? Who is this Andrew that I'm gonna put half in my IRA and yeah, no, but that sounds like a smart move, you know.
What
The
about you,
government's giving you money. Basically, I'm on the run for tax evasion. No, I'm kidding. But I have some gear that I wanted to buy for the podcast when we're back up and running. Just it's like it's called like a switcher. Basically, that's like the, I guess, street name or whatever for people. But it's like you could hook up the cameras to it, and then there could be like a producer in the vicinity, and then, you know, you could just like, you know, just so you don't have to edit the video, they could go from person to person. There's some out there that like have like a voice enabled, kind of like how this Google Meet is. It's voice enabled, but you can set up different setups, like a quad screen. And, you know, not to get too technical and bore people, but it's just something that what I can do is then use that switcher and stream it live, and then we'll just have the show like edited and up live right as we record it, and then I don't have to like edit it for like a few hours after, you know. So
yeah, that's like what the Rogan podcast used to do.
Exactly. Yeah, they have like a producer with a switcher, with multiple cameras. That's exactly the same setup, and it's like a couple G's. So I was looking for something to invest in that this year, and that stimulus check looks like it's going to be nice. So I think I'll bite the bullet.
Who's getting it? Everybody's getting it?
What do you mean?
The stimulus check. So anybody who filed taxes in 2018 or 2019 who made under $75,000 is going to get $1,200.
That's me.
Nice.
I'm excited. What?
Yeah, and
So-
for every like $1,000 you make over 75, not that any of us really are probably worried about that right now. You get $5 less from that. And then if you have a kid, you would get the $1,200 plus an extra $500 for every kid you have.
Damn. It's too late to get some bitch pregnant then.
Calling up your girlfriend's like, hey,
Yeah, baby mamas are getting like phone calls and shit. Like,
oh hell yeah! And then those oh man, those girls with like a bunch of kids. This is just another $1,000, yo. Have you ever met a girl? I know plenty of girls that file for taxes and get like $12,000 in their taxes.
yeah, because of the kids, yeah.
Yeah, that's mind blowing, dude. You know what I would do with $12,000? Dude, I'd never have to worry about weed again. Never again.
You also get a break on your taxes for filing jointly if you're married. So.
Yeah, that's definitely for all the married couples out there.
So when is the stimulus thing is it official yet? Is it
Yeah, they passed it last night, just after midnight.
and so what they're writing the checks now?
No, I mean I wish, but no. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, they said they're going to be issuing payments. They're hoping to get payments out within the next 3 weeks.
Wow.
You just see like Trump sitting there signing checks and shit.
Stamping it.
I'm doing such a great job. Yo,
But
So-
the cool thing is too, like the Uber drivers, like Jose and our last guest, we were discussing, like, you know, whether it be gig economy workers or guys who maybe, you know, didn't file taxes because they were working off the books, or maybe people who get government assistance and don't have to file taxes. They're working in systems that if you filed like a 1099-G, which is I think what you would file if you got government assistance. It's so you know they know you're there, and then they're going to give you the money. Now the only thing about this is, like, if you fall under a specific income amount and you don't have enough tax liability,
Mhm.
your money also decreases. So it's like if you're too rich or too poor, you're kind of fucked. But if you're right in the middle, you're golden.
What?
Which is,
that
yeah.
sounds good.
They're just not trying to hook up the homeless people. Is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucked up.
And the undocumented you know, workers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that they were actually today, after it passed, that a couple of GOP senators were holding up the bill because they said that there was too many unemployment benefits in it.
Yeah.
So that's a developing story, but hopefully these checks get out soon. Yeah, and you know, I guess that's a good way to go out on some high notes. You know, hopefully we're all getting checks. We're all gonna be hood rich in a little bit. Yeah, make it rain real quick. I wanted to thank Eleazar Guzman. Do you want to give people your socials and stuff like that so they could check you out?
Yeah, so I'm Eleazar Guzman on Facebook. But so I post a lot of my jokes on Facebook and stuff. So if you guys want to laugh, that's usually where I'm posting my jokes. But if you want to follow me, I post some content on Instagram. My Instagram is @LazerGuzman. So it's Laser is kind of spelled a little weird, and Guzman is kind of spelled a little weird. Laser Guzman is LAZERGOO ZMAN. I almost forgot, but I remember on a podcast I did one time. They asked me to say my social media, and then I said I spelled out the whole Laser Guzman thing, and they closed out with I bet you're regretting it now, and like regretting that name now, and then they ended the podcast right there.
Yeah, man. So yeah, everybody out there listening, you know, just go check out.
The podcast too, if I get plugged
Yeah,
that real
of
quick
course.
too.
Yeah, for sure.
The podcast is called Calling All Comics, and right now I'm on Anchor FM, and I'm on Spotify. But in a few days, I should be on all platforms, Joe.
Nice.
All right, sounds good, man. What are some of the comics that have been on so far?
So I've had a comic named. I've had a bunch of comics. I've had Franco Danger. I told you about Franco last time I was there. He's a good friend of mine. Great comic too. A guy named Kareem Green, who's been doing comedy for 22 years, and he's one of the best comics I've ever seen live. Another friend of mine who's been doing a long time. His name's Rodney Norman. He's been on there for a while. Recently, I actually just we just recorded the season finale episode today, and that's with Sneeko. I don't know if you ever heard of Sneeko. He's from YouTube. He's got like more than 500,000 followers, and he's like a really good friend of mine personally. I've kind of been like mentoring him with comedy, because before he met me, he's only been doing open mics and stuff. And so I've just basically been working with him and building up his comedy career. And so, since he's my friend, he agreed to do my show, and we just shot it today. So I'm going to release that soon.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. Definitely going to check that out. I want to thank you for coming on again. Also, you know, any of your buddies want to hop on after they see the episode with the new setup, let me know. You know, we definitely want to have more comics on, and, you know, definitely come check out and support your shows and stuff.
Hell yeah. I know a ton of comics who would love this right now. Trust me.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I know everyone's all cooped up in the house. I thought, this is a good time to get some some type of social thing going on here.
Interaction, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So, Andrew, you have any parting words?
Just everybody, keep your head up. It looks like the light is at the end of the tunnel. We're all going to get some free money pretty soon, and just keep on with the social distancing, and just keep doing things like this to keep yourselves entertained. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, everybody stay the fuck home, all right? Good night.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Good night, guys.